Kieran Tierney pass fit for Benfica. Welcome back to your boys channel, welcome back to some Arsenal news, as we shall discuss the Arsenal team news going into the crunch game against Benfica on the Thursday. Also, are Arsenal about to sign Dani Ceballos on a permanent deal, and who else is set to leave Arsenal in the summer? Let's get into today's video. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. As always, before we get into the video, make sure to go down there, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Let me know your thoughts on all things Arsenal in the comments below. And with that being said, let's get into some Arsenal news today. Cheeky little, let's go. First thing that we have to discuss is the Benfica versus Arsenal team news and updates. And the first player in discussion is my finest Tesco's left back in Kieran Tierney KT, as it has been confirmed by Arsenal themselves that Kieran Tierney took part in full training, and this was then confirmed by Arsenal fans as we watched a video posted by Arsenal of their training session. And as you can see, KT versus Willian, and he's training with the team, and he even scored a cheeky little banger, which you'll love to see that. And so with that, it looks like at least the KT has been past fit and should be ready to start against Benfica on the Thursday. In terms of Kieran Tierney himself, he's now nearly been out for an entire month. His last game was a game against Newcastle in the Premier League, which Arsenal won. So it's been a very long time, and it's a very welcome return for my left back. And ultimately, Arsenal are a far more balanced and better team in general with Kieran Tierney as the left back. We don't have any other natural left-footed left backs anyways. So listen, Cedric, you've been good so far and I appreciate your effort, but it's time to move aside for Tesco's finest. But the question now for Arsenal is, are they going to risk him straight back into the team and start him against Benfica? Lads, what would you do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tesco's finest is back, you'll love to see. And in terms of the other Arsenal team news as well, well, unfortunately Thomas Partey I don't think is available. He hasn't trained, so I don't think there's any chance of him even travelling with the first team to Rome. But in terms of the rest of the Arsenal first team, I do believe they're all fit, they're all ready, and we basically have, except for Partey, a fully fit Arsenal squad. You never thought you'd see the day. But then again, I don't want to speak too soon because every time I do, something bad happens out of nowhere, hits me with the RKO. So let's be quiet and let's move in silence. And let's move on to my Arsenal versus Benfica predicted lineup. Now I have gone for Leno and goal, Bellerin, David Luiz, Gabriel Magalhaes, Tierney, Ceballos, Xhaka, Smith-Rowe, Saka, Nicolas, Pepe back, and Aubameyang. Now, of course, in that lineup, there's a lot of key things that we need to discuss. First things first, the centre-back partnership. What is going to happen there? I mean, of course, we technically rested Rob Holding on the game on the Saturday, or sorry, on the weekend, so we're not quite sure if he's going to start. But saying that, watching Gabriel Magalhaes play alongside a fellow Brazilian who speaks the same language as him will look far more better, far more composed, and in general, Gabriel looked better as well, in my opinion. So surely, just like with Aubameyang, you go off the current form, and they look fantastic in that game against a good attacking output team in Leeds United. So I'm going to go for Gabriel and Luiz, but just don't be surprised if Mikel Arteta does select Rob Holdinho. But let me know your thoughts, and who do you think the centre-back partnership should be going into the game? In terms of the midfield, I think Xhaka and Ceballos picked themselves with Partey's injury, and the three behind that though, Smith-Rowe I think has to start because he has been our main creator. Obviously Odegaard had a good debut, a good first start against these, but I'm going to go for Smith-Rowe. And in terms of the wingers though, Saka obviously is a go-to. My star boy has to start, and Pepe though, you know what, as much as Arteta may have not played him against Leeds, he has been Arsenal's informed player in the Europa League with 3 goals and 3 assists, has 6 goal contributions in the 6 games he played. So I think you have to start Pepe. But then again, with Aubameyang for me playing down the middle, he has to play down there with a hat-trick he scored. Maybe then Arsenal might just start Odegaard and Smith-Rowe again, and again go for the form plays, because in the last game we played some fluid, liquid Arsenal football. But the question really is, what would you go for? Would you leave Nicolas Pepe on the bench? Would you start Alexandre Lacazette? And what do you do with Odegaard, Smith-Rowe? One together or both starting together? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And what is a massive gargantuan game that Arsenal must secure the dub. In terms of Benfica themselves, a little bit of a scouting report. Benfica have taken 11 points from a possible 24 in their last 8 league matches. In that time, we've also been beaten by Porto in the Super Cup, lost the League Cup semi to Braga. COVID can't explain it all. Huge pressure on coach Jorge Jesus going into the Europa League tie versus Arsenal on Thursday. And I've kind of always alluded to this, that Benfica haven't been in the best of form, but then again, we cannot, and I mean cannot, take these men for granted, because the moment we do, then we are in trouble. And as Usman is pointing out, Otamendi, ex-Man City centre-back, Vertonghen as well, Everton, a player who was linked to Arsenal, Brazilian winger a few years ago, Adil Taarabt, ex of QPR, Julian Weigl, ex-Dortmund player, but ultimately they do have players that can hurt you. And you know, players like Weigl, for example, and Everton were players that Arsenal were linked with only a few years ago, so let's just give some respect and let's just be a bit careful. And I want my team to progress into the next round and hopefully, fingers crossed, challenge for the Europa League, because if somehow and some way, and God willing, we can win this Europa League, then boy oh boy, are we gonna witness some absolute scenes, Jeff. I mean, there will be massive scenes. But up until that point, we're gonna pray and hope for the best, and I will be doing a live watch along for the game tomorrow, so hopefully you guys are there. But let me know your thoughts on the game, your predictions, and your own personal predicted lineups in the comments below. Let's move on, and that is to Arsenal's squad updates, because there have been a few reports coming out of the UK today claiming that Arsenal were already squad planning, as we discussed yesterday. And according to Mark Owen, Arsenal want to sign Dani Ceballos, Matt Ryan on a permanent deals, and may seek to agree a fee with Real Madrid for Martin Odegaard as well. Now, in terms of Matt Ryan, I think this is a very simple one. I do believe his contract is set to expire in the summer, but I'm not quite sure about that. And in terms of Martin Odegaard, I've always made it clear I want to see him play for Arsenal in the longer term, but then again, we're going to have to wait and see how he progresses until the end of the season. But in terms of Dani Ceballos, he has been here now for a few years now, and while he has had some very good performances, he's also been very inconsistent. And a player that I always compare him to is Kovacic at Chelsea, who I think is fantastic. I would love to see Arsenal. I call that back in 2018. We've kind of got a, I want to say, bootleg version of Kovacic and Dani Ceballos, and ultimately the fee that has been touted by Real Madrid apparently is around £22 million, which for Ceballos, who isn't quite a first teamer, I don't think he's better than Xhaka. I most definitely don't think he's better than Thomas Partey. So essentially, we're paying that money for what is going to be a squad player. Which, do you want to do that? I'm not quite sure. But saying that Ceballos is still only, I think, 23 years of age, so he's got so much time to still improve. But in terms of my options that I would look to over Ceballos, for me that can improve the first team itself, Boubakary Soumaré from Lyon, and of course Bissouma from Brighton as well, I think are better options than Ceballos in my humble opinion. But let me know what you would do with Dani Ceballos in the comments below. The report was also claimed that Arsenal will launch major cost-cutting plans despite slashing their wage bill by almost £700,000 a week. Midfielders Matteo Guendouzi and Lucas Torreira, on loan with Hertha Berlin and Atletico Madrid, will be sold in the summer for around £25 million each. £25 million of cash money. In terms of Lucas Torreira, I think he's always wanted to leave Arsenal. The moment he came into England, he doesn't just like the environment, not Arsenal, but just the country itself. And in terms of a report today coming out of Italy, they are claiming that Fiorentina are in advanced talks in their pursuit to sign Arsenal's Lucas Torreira. The Uruguayan international has already been given the approval to join the Italian side in the summer. But in terms of Matteo Guendouzi, Ale Matteo is a bit of a more interesting one. And while he has impressed in certain games for Hertha Berlin this season, there are still too many games where I think he just isn't at the level that I think Arsenal need to improve our current midfield pivots. But what would you do, and who would you rather keep out of Ceballos or Guendouzi? The question is to you in the comments below. And also in terms of Alexandre Lacazette, the report claims he remains a key part of Arteta's squad, but the club are in no mood to give him a pay rise and could sell him in the summer rather than risk him going for free next year. And ultimately Arsenal need to find a more all-round better striker that suits our current system, which for me unfortunately just isn't Lacazette in terms of out and out goals. And for me, I would love to see Arsenal just be ruthless and no more of Sentiments FC. But then again, I know a lot of you guys like Lacazette, but what would you do with him in your personal opinion in the summer? For me, it's time to go, but what are you saying? I mean, you know, we already discussed Alton Edward yesterday. Could he be an option? We're gonna have to wait and see, and we are gonna move on. And that is to some other Arsenal news today. First things first, Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick yesterday. I think it's about time we have a bit of pain, as a quote of Arsene Wenger on Mbappe in 2017 has resurfaced, claiming the player would tell you that I was at his home last year to try to get him here at Arsenal because he was at the end of his contract, but Monaco managed to keep him and the decision was very tight, meaning that Kylian Mbappe was very close to signing for the mighty Arsenal. You know what, Mbappe and Saka and Martinelli, you know, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to go through the pain. We're going to move on. But could we have signed Mbappe? Again, it is what could have been FC. Why always Arsenal? Why is it always us that this comes up for? I mean, never I hear about Man United. I never hear about Chelsea or Tottenham or whoever. It's always Arsenal. Why do you have to put through Arsenal fans with so much pain? And sometimes it's best to just keep the information to yourself and allow us from the pain ourselves. But hey, at least we got Bukayo Saka, so at least we got something there. We got a star boy. We're gonna move on to unfortunately a bit of negative news concerning Bert Leno, who in an interview to Sky Sports has said, I had a very bad game and the one guy on social media said to me, do it like NK. Since I read this, I realized there are so many stupid people on social media. The reason I don't read it even when everything is good. Now the person he's referring to in NK is a German goalkeeper who I believe unfortunately committed suicide due to mental health reasons, and it's another example of stupidness online, of stupid people who've got too much time in hand and are really sad, because ultimately, yes, you might not rate the player and yes, he might have had a bad game, but to abuse him and to say stupid stuff like that, bro, it is not on. And ultimately, I just want to say, how much more can we take this on social media, and how much more is this going to happen until a stand is taken, because it is getting boring now and it's getting repetitive and it's just so sad. But in terms of my goalkeeper Bert Leno, you have my and Arsenal fans' utmost support. But there you guys go, that is the latest Arsenal news today. And of course, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to go down there and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let me know your thoughts on all things I've discussed in the comments below. If you could also follow my social media, the links are in the description below and it would be appreciated. But there you man go, another episode of Arsenal news today. I hope you have enjoyed it, and for Arsenal it's a massive game tomorrow. I am nervous, but I will see you there as well in a bit.